Echo, Route 65. As you've already gathered, this isn't quite what we've been doing before. This is a prequel written by McSkinny, and it just covers one night in the lives of Chase, Leo, and a few others. So I thought we would just run through one version. There will be slightly different things happening depending on the choices you make early in the game, which you'll have to get the game to play. But we're just going to run through this in maybe one guy might break it if it goes on for a bit longer. But let's just start this game. I'm not going to read this to you because it's too difficult to get through this in the space I have. And here we go. We're not going to answer the phone. No, God, I can't deal with this right now. I stare at the screen, letting my phone vibrate until it stops. I'll try to make up an excuse that it was on silent later. I'd been a cringing, flustered mess since this morning. School and my geometry test had kept me only slightly distracted. With the call as a reminder, I feel a welling sensation around my eyes and my vision blurs. I suck in my cheeks before exuding a shaky exhale. Nothing will ever be the same anymore. My parents won't see me as normal anymore. All because I was daft enough to try to rub one out on the computer before the bus came this morning. I thought they were at work. Mom is usually out by 5 and Dad by 6, but they took the day off on account of it's their anniversary. So not only did they catch me pants down, prick in hand, but also found out I was gay in one fell swoop of headphone-caused lack of spatial awareness. I heard Mom scream. I was so startled I jumped. My headphones coming unplugged from my laptop, blasting Fox Stallion porn on full blast. Just when my dad came running in. I remember Mom turned and went to her room, locked the door, and I didn't see her again before I left. Dad, meanwhile, was sort of laughing nervously before I took off to my bus stop, but I could tell from his face that this was beyond awkward for him. I couldn't bring myself to words. I just pulled up my shorts and ran to my bus stop. All throughout the day, the thought of coming home and having to face this shame was like being dunked in ice water. Each mile we travel closer to Echo increases that feeling of inevitable awfulness. I try to go over excuses in my head. I could maybe attempt to convince them that it was straight porn. Both of the guys in the video had pretty visible beard scruff though. I rub my eyes. The thought of trying to figure out what all my folks saw on the screen makes me want to retch. Well, I could say it was a virus that took control of my browser window. And it was so startling the prospect that I didn't have time to fully put on my shorts. Yeah, and the erection was unrelated. Fuck. I peek through my pores at my phone screen, the symbol for a missed voicemail having appeared up top. I grit my teeth with extreme apprehension, turning the screen off and shoving my phone back into my pocket. Taking a moment to recombobulate, I look around. The bus is pretty empty besides me, the bus driver, who has been trying to get the radio to work the whole ride, and Carl in the seat adjacent to me. Carl, as usual, has his earbuds in with his expensive handheld out, playing some Japanese tactics RPG. Usually we have at least Jeremy, Clint, Heather, Jasmine and TJ with us, but not today. Not many kids who go to the school in Peyton live out in Echo. I'm pretty astonished the bus district expansion covered our town. The bus ride from Peyton to Echo usually takes about 45 minutes, but feels much longer. And if you're suddenly thinking of Blackgate, yeah, it's that music. Especially now. 2008, November 1st. Day of the Dead. Yeah! The Ram looks up from his game to the source of the music, slightly furrow-browed. Our bus driver grins back at him through the rear mirror in a self-satisfied fashion, a gummy Cheshire Moor on full yet reef display. Realising she's looking back at him, Carl grunts, hunching up his shoulders a bit. Karen, why? She lets out a brief chortle. Well, seeing as I only have you two along with me today, I thought I'd put on some tunes. Make your colour a little blue. Carl begrudgingly pauses his game, pulling out his earbuds and letting them hang over his horns. It's still weird seeing him like this. Around age 14 his horns developed. A lot. He complained about headaches and neck strain constantly. He told me he had to see a chiropractor when it stayed over because his horns were so big and his neck muscles hadn't developed enough to support them. Even now, a year later, he still sits with a sort of low, hunched posture. I'm plenty blue-collared, yeah? I live in Echo. She smirks again. Boy, have I seen the size of your manor. No, you ain't. Never expected a sort like you to be so pomp and yachty-blooded. Carl doesn't say anything. His emerald gaze shifts some to the seat in front of him. Karen takes a glug from her soda bottle with her free hand, the other steering us through an on-ramp onto the freeway. The smart they'd have on just 1 hour of your daddy's income. I'd feel bad for whoever works mani-pedi that shift. She holds up her calloused right hand, her claws rather stubbed, even for a fox's standard. When I'm not driving new squirts, I do road crew for public works. Ain't your average mom, eh? She gesticulates with a swirling motion she speaks, and lets her hand hang limply on the steering wheel. Well, it might be the new average here soon enough. Feminism and all that. You two will learn all about it in college, I'm sure. Yes, her voice goes all over the place here. What are you two going for, Major Wise? Both of us make no quick move to respond. Chase? I shift some in my seat, clearing my throat so my voice doesn't crack. Well, I wanted to go into videography and film, but my parents weren't too fond of that. So, I guess journalism or communications? Karen responds so abruptly that it makes me wonder if I said something wrong. Well, my nephew got one of them communication degrees from North Mountain State. Oh? How'd that go? Ended up being a $60,000 piece of paper that earns him $13.25 an hour, fixing old farts like us computers out of some big box establishment. Nerd Squad, I think they're called. Hell if I know. She waves dismissively. I look over at Carl, who looks like all he wants to do is go back to playing his game. I'm still deciding, I guess. What about you, Bighorns? Carl blinks some at the casual speciesism, then scratches the back of his neck. You just plan on going straight to work with your daddy right after you graduate? Mom, actually. I don't know yet. Carl looks pretty uneasy with this topic. He also seems pretty embarrassed at having said mommy out loud. Were I in better spirits, I'd probably laugh. Everyone's good at something, Carl. Hopefully that is something you enjoy too. You're always quiet with your nose in that little device of yours, playing games. Maybe that's your future career. Something techie? Admittedly, Leo's usually the one who's most handy with fixing our tech stuff. Carl isn't even the best at video games. That title belonging to Jazz. Carl is quiet for a bit, tugging on the strings of his hoodie. I don't know. Looking out the window, I see the sun is setting as we get within 10 or so miles of Echo. We pass the old abandoned water park, which I heard closed shortly after the bypass was built and all its passerby traffic was lost. I think for a moment I see what looks like some figures in the drained pool, though when I try to squint I don't see them anymore. You know, I was around when that place shut down. I startle some, not realising I was being watched. Both times actually. Once in the 60s and again in the 80s when it reopened for a year. It was during the era of big government giving out big old water project construction to the state for pennies. LA being the golden child. Our county, as you two squirts are aware, did not become the next Orange County. Spoilers, as my son Keith used to say. She lets out an amused grunt before stirring up some. A lot of folks lost their jobs. It's like a little Great Depression in the middle of Mormon land. Echo's been going to tits for generations, though. And not the good sort of tits either. The real ugly ones, like those that what's-her-name adorns. Mrs. Tethers? Yeah, her. I'm taken off guard at that comment. Mrs. Tethers is a particularly nasty history teacher at PHS who is known not for being too keen on vulpines. She does have a rather strangely lopsided pair. Anyway, it is ripe shame. By the time your kiddies are having kiddies themselves, this town will be a feast for termites. Well, maybe not the manor. I see Karen's silver eyes focus on Carl. The castle, we used to call it. She says this a bit rather strangely, as if trying to remember something specific. Carl is staring out the window, avoiding Karen's stare. In the 2 years we've had her as a bus driver, she's never spoken this much. Most of the time she'd just be scolding Jeremy and Clint. I have this feeling she's been waiting for this opportunity to speak more personally with Carl for a while. As we get closer to Echo, we pass more abandoned places. Some are adorned with faded Art Deco stylings from the bygone modern era, while others are but rotten wood from the Mormon settlement days. In my current situation, all these familiar architectural fadings seem to evoke a pulsating sense of dread for what is to come. Carl, your family has been here for over a century. The way I see it, least they could do is reinvest in what they capitalised on in the first place. Can you just change the radio station? Carl's horns are pressed up against the window, his tone low but his voice loud. Oh yeah? What you want it set to? Anything but this. Carl looks down at his handheld, fidgeting with stuff in the character screen, without the focus to keep actually playing. Fine, what do you want to listen to, Chase? Let's take the gruff option. I don't know, we might be able to get that soft rock station that's sometimes available right before we get into town. What did you say? You want this but louder? No. Chase, kill me. End my life. Maybe I'll respawn somewhere more peaceful. This is good for you, Carl. You're getting blue-collared, albeit, the hard way. If I wanted to get blue-collared the hard way, I'd borrow Jasmine's jean shorts and stand assumingly around the motel. Covering our ears and pressing our heads to the seats in front of us, we endure the hick musical cavalcade, as Jasmine deemed the station. Glancing sidelong out the bus window, I see that we're less than a mile from home. My paw pads start to feel clammy and I clutch my knees tight. It is fortunate the car is currently occupied with burying his muzzle in the faux leather of the seat in front of him as I begin to tremble. Part of me actually wants him to see. I know it is just stalling, but I want to talk to someone, anyone, about all this. It is a small town, and whoever I speak to will know that I like guys. I'll have to deal with them knowing that fact every day till college. If I go to college. I used to hate being so damn generic. Fucking Flynn whines at how boring I am all the time, but now all I can see are folks looking at me, seeing me as that otter who likes it up the rear and not as generic Chase. God, that's what my parents will see me as too. This sort of deviant who lives in their home. I imagine them looking at the photos of me around the house now and wishing they could have that back. I've never really talked to my parents about relationships and sex stuff, and now I'm just shocking them with this whole new side of me. What an anniversary present I've given them. I look over and see Carl hunched over, his horns pushing into the seat and his gaze focused blankly upon the screen of his handheld. Upon closer inspection, the screen is completely black, the device no longer on. It seems that he's not in the best of states either. I swallow, debating disturbing him. Carl might be my best friend, but we don't really have deep talks, especially since the lake incident. Maybe I could text someone? I slide my phone out of my pocket, staring at the black screen much like Carl is now. I realise when I get home my parents are probably going to demand to see my phone and messages, so I'll have to remember to delete them. I try to imagine how each of my friends would react. This is honestly foreign ground, only alluded to in traded insults and jokes. Flynn especially. The lizard drops the word faggot in every other sentence as of late. I think he just chooses it for maximum edginess. Jasmine, on the other hand, might be the most supportive with this sort of thing. However, she wasn't at school today. I eavesdropped Flynn mention something about issues with her parents and Jeremy to Leo, but couldn't make out the specifics. I don't even know how Leo would react to any of this. He makes jokes about puffy stuff all the time, but I can tell there's some ease there. That leaves TJ. Carl described him once as the moral gooey centre of our sandwich of a group of friends. That being said, I'm not sure how much I can actually tell him. He's just barely crossing the puberty threshold right now. Plus the Christianity factor. I didn't cover one of my ears long enough to pull out my phone, my heart skipping one beat at the new voicemail notification. I quickly swipe over to my contacts. Who to choose? Who to choose? He always has a weird sort of paternal vibe going on with him. If someone in our group is feeling down or about to make a stupid decision, he usually goes out of his way to set them straight. Jasmine says this is largely due to the culture he comes from, the whole pack mentality thing. In truth though, Leo's one of the first friends I ever made, back when I was like 6. I'm sort of hoping time cuts through the stigma bullshit and have an idea of what to do. My thumbpad hovers over his portrait picture in the messenger app. Alright, here goes nothing. So, can I talk to you for a second? I wonder if I shouldn't have done punctuation or capitalization. Maybe try to sound a little more casual. Busy, but what? Shit. He doesn't have practice today, so I thought he'd be free. Managing text messaging with Leo is hard enough as it is. With him distracted, it'd be even worse. Looks like I can't do it through here. I think I should talk to you about it in person. I see. Okay. God, he always does this. 2 to 3 word responses. He's still probably hanging out with the other football folk outside school. Lucky bastard has his own truck now, so he mostly doesn't come home with us anymore. I find myself biting the inside of my cheek and quickly force myself to stop. Okay. I stare at my phone screen for a long while, and eventually come to the conclusion that this is a waste of time. He doesn't seem to be in any hurry to respond now. I don't want to fuck this up by badgering him with my whinge and revelation that I apparently love cock, while he'd rather be doing anything else. As the familiar landmarks of railway and the red rock of Echo Canyon comes into view out the window, my restless anxiety returns. Steadying myself, I swipe back over to my contacts. I guess I just have to wait for the right opportunity. Right now, not being it. I'm about to slide my phone into my pocket when I feel it vibrate against the pads of my palm. I got Gorgonzola at the mini market in Peyton. Well, that's informative. I honestly have no idea what this message means. Instinctively, I try to respond with something jabby. I'm sorry, Flynn. I'm sure they have a cream for that. I don't usually ever text Flynn, mainly because he doesn't text back. So this is weird, I guess. It's a type of salad, you musky fuck. Oh. Why are you texting me about salad? Looking out the bus window, I can see that we're approaching Carl's stop. As the bus turns onto the neighbourhood road, I scoot over some, speaking up to get Carl's attention. So, I'm going to get off with you here, okay? Carl just continues staring at his blank screen for a second, while blinking and looking back at me. You sure? That might be pretty messy, and Karen watching might give me performance anxiety. Carl stares deadpan at me. I rest my forehead into my paw and groan, though I end up snickering a bit. The bus comes to a stop. Carl, this is where you get off. Chase wants to get off too. The bus. You have a note from your folks? Shit. I look back to Carl and he gives me a look of understanding. He unslings his backpack from his shoulder, rifling through it. Carl looks up at me briefly, mouthing one word. Stall. I do. I make a motion of holding something up behind the seat. Carl seems to have found a pen and notepad and is scribbling hastily. So, Karen, you mentioned your son Keith. The name sounds familiar. Karen gives me a rather dubious look, a silver gaze eyeing me up. Well, I doubt you have recently. Keith's been gone for a good year or so now. Where did he go? Karen scratches the end of her muzzle, still eyeing me with the same searching expression. He's dead. Or dead to me, at least. Oh, sorry. Definitely not going to prod there. Carl currently looks as if he's trying to camouflage into his seat, slowly sliding down it. Sight. The old fox lets out a huff that is half aspirated, half amused. She waves dismissively. Your squirt's going to exit the bus or not? I got a big bowl of cinnamon chips and pineapple mango salsa waiting for me back home. I shift awkwardly in my seat. Out of the corner of my eye, something yellow flutters down by my feet. With haste, I bend down and snatch at the note, acting as nonchalant as possible. Carl's penmanship is actually pretty good. I give him a discreet, grateful look as he gets up and moves to the exit. I'm coming. Carl stops, looking back at me with that same deadpan as before. To the front of the bus. I think I hear Carl mutter, "That's quite some range," as he turns and continues offward. Carl hops off first, his hooves making an audible clop noise on the aged asphalt. However, as I follow and move to hand my note to Karen, her calloused hand grabs my wrist instead of the note. I'm not that deaf and dumb, kiddie. I've been doing this job a long while. She relinquishes my wrist, the note fluttering to the ground. I can feel Carl staring nervously at us from the road. I appreciate your curiosity. Keith and I live down in Colville, so I doubt you'd know him. He made some seriously questionable decisions regarding his amorous pursuits, things I could not abide by. She shifts him in a large driver's seat, the cadence of her voice changing some as she looks to the back of the bus. I saw you back there, puffy-eyed and trembling. Oh no. You afraid of something at home? I know that people can be out here. I'm frozen, feeling the tips of my ears burn rosy at today's endless cavalcade of embarrassment. She pauses, bending down to pick up the dropped note before tossing it in the bus's trash basket. Especially with kids. I'm not sure what she means by that, and definitely I'm not sure what to say. I look back at Carl. He seems to be averting his gaze now, his paws deep in his hoodie pockets. All right, I get it. Nobody trusts the hick bus driver to know what it's like to be a kid these days. Look, run along now. Sorry for, grabbing you. I'm used to them shits Jeremy and Clint doing that and getting me in trouble. I try hard and force a smile. Oh, thanks. I appreciate your concern and all. Yeah, they are pretty shitty. Hey, language, kiddo. Sorry. Also, tell Carl his fly is down. Looks like a damn fool. I see Carl stiffen, quickly reaching down and fumbling with his zipper, his neon orange Superwolf boxers visible through his fly. Karen just sighs. I feel my phone vibrate within my pocket. See your squirts on Monday. I step off the bus beside Carl and doors shut behind me, Karen heading back toward the freeway. It gets dark so much earlier now that summer is over. Echo isn't exactly a major township. The area deemed a census-designated place, so we don't get streetlights. Carl watches the bus fade off into the distance before pulling out his phone. Can't wait till I get my own car and license. He starts texting. Let my parents know that you're coming over. We should troll around on that 3D virtue chat game again tonight. I spent some money and got myself this big luchador avatar, except I gave him big old breasts. He's called Mamaria. He looks up at me with a smirk before turning and walking. How much did you spend? I follow, pulling on my own phone. I don't know, I was just grabbing what I needed. $15 maybe? Well, that's a lot for those kind of games, especially just for clothing. Well, like, the luchador mask I wanted was one of the premium items, so it costed the most. Everything else was dirt cheap. Every single girl in that game uses the same hair, the long curly blonde one that cost like $1. This is kind of hard to narrate two people at once, so we'll just fill in Flynn. Well, I think Jazz is in a shit place right now. She doesn't miss school ever, and Jeremy's saying weird shit about her at lunch. At least they say they're girls. I'm just trying to be unique. Otherwise, what's the point? And it's a social role-playing game. Why risk getting ignored? I'm trying to keep away from home right now. I might stop by and check up on her. I actually have another account with the characters more normal looking. I made him after you left last time. Well, I was going to after work. The tit-put parents have been cunties of late. You can if you want, but I doubt your pansy self can handle Jura if he's there. I don't care if him and Clint are there. He's like this big primate-looking dude with burn scars everywhere. This kind of albino-y face. I had the idea of the character sort of based off a dream I had once. Look, don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this, but Leo's going to this party thing tonight. You should go too. Oh no, I don't care. A party? Well, not in Echo, right? What was it for? The election? Anyway, I went to a lot of the in-game hotspots at first. A lot of the stuff you and I saw when we were messing around. It is sort of like you said, that most of the people there are just middle-aged housewives who can barely type a sentence. Well, that's for Day of the Dead. That's today. Bunch of jocks and townie types are going to be there. Route 65 at Parsons Manufacturing. Then I sort of went off-grid, I guess you'd call it. Like the spots that aren't advertised on the destination finder. Started finding a lot of weird shit. Like weirder than the shit we were making ironically, yeah? Leo didn't mention it when I saw him. You going? There are these places which look more like real-life houses. Not the usual fantasy exotic stuff. Just people living in virtual families in these boring-ass looking homes, complete with framed photos of screenshots of their characters. I got the impression a lot of them were like foreign. Well, I just said I'll be working, and when I get home I'm heading to Jasmine's. Fucking deduce, school paper boy. I walked into this one flat with these two horse ladies in it. They had decorations with Turkish script everywhere. They seemed normal enough. Oh, just curious. Fuck you. They had a TV item which just displayed a slideshow of Photoshop photos of them with a baby. When I started exploring the house, I ended up walking in this nursery room, and they got really pissy. I thought about trolling, you know, and writing, "I eat the baby," and hopping up and down on the crib. But I don't know. It just felt like this weird mix of awkward and sad. Jace? Are you listening? Carl is standing in front of me with a concerned expression on his face. It takes me a moment to respond. Yeah, just texting Flynn. He's actually responding to you? Yeah, I know. I look up the street. Carl's house sitting in its amber glowing glory atop the hill slope. Apparently there's a party happening tonight. Carl raises an inquisitive brow. Like here or in general? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by in general, but yeah, around here. It is for the Day of the Dead. Leo and I think maybe Flynn got invited. What? Didn't mention it to me at all, and asked them to their faces if they had any plans. I shrug. Flynn made it sound like it was mainly just Peyton people coming out here. Yeah, but it is weird they wouldn't mention that. That sounds like about the most exciting thing that'll happen around you for months. Carl looks off to the side, shifting his posture some. I'd rather just stay home and play Virtue with you anyway. But seriously, what the fuck? The idea that two of our closest friends were keeping it a secret did make me feel pretty shitty. On top of all the other sensations of general shittiness I feel right now. It is at the Parsons Manufacturing building on Route 65. Well, sort of in the ass end of nowhere for a party. Maybe it's like a rave or something? I shrug again. I think we should go. Carl blinks, his expression akin to as if I just asked to rub his horns. First of all, dude, we weren't invited. Second, this is the middle of nowhere. Third, isn't Day of the Dead for like... He pulls his paw out of his hoodie long enough to swirl it around in gesticulation as he tries to phrase this right. Latin folk? Well, my blood is as Book of Mormon as it gets, dude. Alright, first, Leo is there, so I don't see him not getting us in. It was weird he didn't invite us in the first place. Second, we live in the middle of nowhere. Anything local happening is technically in the middle of nowhere, which still doesn't make it any more safe. Third, well, I don't know. I assume nothing too culturally sensitive is taking place in an abandoned factory, which won't save us from sticking out like a sore thumb. Carl exhales through flared nostrils. Lowering his head up has been throttled by how much of a bad idea this is. Dude. He looks back down at me, a taut frown upon his muzzle. I don't know. I guess I'm kinda curious. Worst case, we stop in, smack Leo, and then make like Flynn's fetish and scat. Best case, we stop in, smack Leo, and they have food. I'd rip your tail off for a cheese quesadilla now. Don't do that. My phone buzzes in my grip. You're welcome. I got to go. Try not to set too much cock on your way there. I wonder what these jokes are going to be like once they know. Well, that's good advice from Flynn. I don't know if you're going to hold out the whole way, though. Glancing over the start, I realise that Carl is leering over my shoulder, squinting at my phone. Christ! I exhale, turning my phone screen off. Yeah, I'll try my best. Carl lets out a brief, breathy bit of laughter before pulling out his phone. Lying to your parents, time? Yep, your fault too. What should I say? Before we go, though, I wanted to check up on Jazz. I see Carl give me a bit of an inquisitive look as if he isn't sure whether to protest his decision or not. It's on the way, sort of, and she wasn't at school today. Flynn told me their parents have been worse as of late. Didn't know they could get much worse, dude. I know I may as well be the prep here, but they're like the definition of trailer trash. He pauses, then quickly adds, not Jazz though. I nod some to the affirmative, then begin heading offward. I can see Carl looking a bit longingly towards his bedroom window, the aqua glow of his computer monitor visible from within. I have to admit that I also am kind of longing for some time on my laptop. As I remember my situation from the morning, my heart sinks. My laptop's probably been taken from me, and my parents are probably going through all my files and internet history. My fists clench an inward cringe. I just need to try not to think about it. Crossing over into Jasmine's neighbourhood, the surface of the road shifts from asphalt to dirt. Whilst Echo's pavement is laden with alligator cracks and crumbling edges, the dirt road looks even worse. Each step we take kicks up a plume of dust, the sediment covering the road's top loose and sand-like. The clopping of Carl's hooves has been muffled though, making everything seem sort of tranquil. Which is odd because hanging out with Carl is usually not something I consider a tranquil experience. Maybe the better term for it is eerie. I can see the faded masonry of the abandoned school building up ahead at the bend, the grass around it pale and dormant in the November chill. There aren't too many other buildings around besides it. A few junk cars, cinder blocks and steel barrels can be seen beside the road. Flynn calls this part of Echo Tetanus Alley. Dude, I don't usually even brave coming around here in the daytime. This is kind of... He gestures about with a limp flail instead of finishing his sentence. This is clearly out of his comfort zone. I honestly think anything outside Carl's bedroom could be considered as such. You never walk to Jasmine's house at night? Never without, like, Leo or something. I nod. I get it. If someone comes running at me with a syringe, I'm just going to use a meat shield. You smoke meth, you don't usually inject it. If someone comes running at me with a meth pipe, I'm using you as a meat shield. I let a half-amused grunt, keeping wary of my surroundings. There is no wind, so the mesquite and sagebrush are static still. We walk quietly for a bit, but as we reach the schoolhouse, Carl breaches the silence. People around here hate me, dude. I turn to look at him, the ram's face devoid of expression, his gaze distant. Well, Jeremy and Clint are just vocal about it. The rest just hate everybody, I think. No, you heard what Karen was saying, right? How she sounded like there was some collective simmering spite under the surface. Well, that's just... Don't say that's just Karen's. I hear it in other places too, dude. You're a spoiled, fat, rich kid. That's an easy target. My parents sell fucking ice cream. How can you hate the ice cream family? The ram waves his arms about before letting him flop ragdoll-like at his sides. I pause, hesitating on my response for a moment, and it comes to me. Maybe they're just intolerant. I wait a beat. Lactose intolerant. Carl rolls his head back and lets out a surprisingly loud groan. Blinking, I hold up a finger to my muzzle. Shh, you're being noisy. I see the ram visibly recoil, increasingly self-aware. He sinks back into himself, dipping his paws into his pockets. Carl is really different when he talks to me in comparison to when he's at school around others. He's all quiet and such at lunch or in between classes. If it's just as us hanging out, he can be kind of spaz. He speaks of your ancestors, right? The town founder and whatnot. Yeah. He answers abruptly, looking sidelong. I think my scolding may have upset him. You know, it's a wonder that there's such a thing around here. Sodomy and mass murder as a way of sticking around. Which one's worse, right? I say that a bit more of a forced playful tone than I intended. Carl looks over me, then shrugs. Depends on who you ask. I look back at the abandoned school. Something about it always gave me a weird feeling. Carl and I hadn't been inside since 4th grade, now that I think about it. We arrive outside Jasmine's house, the square stucco structure dwarfed by the 3-story school next door. I can hear some scraping noises coming from inside, like wooden dining chairs pushed across tile floor. As I walk toward the door, I see Carl stop out of the corner of my eye. Looking back, he seems frozen in place, his green eyes flicking from the entryway to me. You know they don't like me, dude. Can you handle this? I sigh, deciding it isn't worth arguing over. He's kinda right too, I guess. You going home? No, I'm just gonna chill out here. He leans back a bit, teetering on the edge of the road and a little bit of gravel in front of the house. You look real inconspicuous, man. Thanks. Do you know what inconspicuous means? Well endowed. Jesus. I throw up my hands and make my way to the door, knocking 3 times. Carl, meanwhile, ambles off in the direction of the old school out of sight. The skidding inside stops. Within a couple of seconds, the door flings open, outward, so I'm nearly knocked on my ass. I'm instantly greeted by the smell of stale beer and the sound of football, the volume up too high. The sight of errant plastic bags and food containers scattered about tangerine shag carpet just completes the mood, really. A stout, fat fennec fox stands before me, his eyes wide. He stares, though not meeting my gaze. It's as if he was looking right through me. Overall, Jasmine's dad looks like hell. However, he blinks some and refocuses, narrowing his eyes at me and dusting off his shirt. Chase, he rumbles. Hey, yeah, is Jazz home? Inside, I see a head peek from around the corner, the fur too splotchy to be Jasmine's. Jeremy. Fuck off, Chase. His voice is laden with derisive contempt. Jasmine's dad doesn't even react. It's bizarre how Jeremy never seems to get disciplined. She's in her room. Got chores she ain't done yet. She can't go out and, play. He steps out of the way and moves back to the kitchen, where a plate of convenience store nachos and cheese sits. He reaches down to grab a chip but ends up just sticking his paw in the hot melted cheese. The old fox looks more confused than anything, his brow furrowed. 3 seconds pass before he actually grabs a chip. Meanwhile, Jeremy is still hard-eyeing me from over the couch cushion. I realise now he's only in his underwear. Tighty-whities, too. With that, I fast walked my way to the end of the hall, stepping over some nasty-looking stains. I'm guessing Jasmine's mom is in the bathroom, so I give that a wide berth as well. As I'm about to turn and knock on Jazz's door, I realise it's completely open, the door taken off the hinges and resting against the wall nearby. Awkwardly, I knock on the wooden frame and clear my throat. Jazz? Chase. She states my name with a matter-of-fact air to her tone. I take that as my all good to enter and step inside. Her room is rather cramped. It's adorned with an old metal-framed single bed, a cedar desk and the house's hot water heater. A stack of books and Leo, you got me doing it again. A stack of books and manga completely fills the space under her bed. It's serving as some sort of makeshift book nook. Her desk is surprisingly neat, and I recognise a biology textbook from school open on top. Everything seems fairly tidy, neat and organised, but it still seems somewhat cosy. It is girly as all hell, truly, but it feels like a sanctuary in contrast to the rest of the house, even with the constant rumble of the hot water heater. Jasmine is turned away from me, sorting something in her backpack. I see her rubber face. Your door moved. Not on its own. What do you need? After a sufficient amount of face rubbing, she turns to face me, a curious yet expectant look in her eyes. She almost looks as if she's sizing me up, for I think that's just the way her face is. Well, you weren't at school today, and I just wanted to check up on you and whatnot. She turns, moving to close a biology book on the desk and sliding it into her backpack. Well, that's nice of you. Her tone is abrupt and leaves me feeling sort of awkward and foolish. I guess? Hey, can I borrow your cell phone for a second? I hesitate. What for? Don't worry, I'm not going to go through your text messages or browsing history. Just need to message someone. I slowly pull my phone from my pocket, though I'm definitely a little wary of handing it over. That doesn't stop Jasmine from turning hasty and plucking it from my fingertips. Sly fox. She swipes through when I hear the telltale click-clacking of the touch keys. Who are you texting? You don't worry about that, and I won't worry about this recently saved images button on here. Jazz. She narrows her gaze at something, the white light from the device illuminating her features. You can have a seat if you like. I want to know what's going on. Like in general, or? Regarding you not being at school today, and your door being absent. It isn't absent, Chase. It's just against the wall outside. I'm starting to actually get angry at this point. If you don't want to talk about it, then just say you don't want to talk about it. Quit trying to make me look stupid for caring. Her blue eyes flick from the screen to me for a brief moment, then back down again. There's nothing to talk about. Nothing out of the ordinary around here, just an average day in Cloud 9. I see her mash her thumb in rapid succession against what looks like the delete button, then she begins to type again. How are you doing, though? I feel my raised jowls go loose at the question. She looks up at my phone, resting it face down on her thigh as she awaits my answer. Her shift of concern is a little jarring, though this is what I came for, really, isn't it? As much as I would hate to admit it, her lack of domestic bliss is such a common thing at this point, it's become a bit of a trite topic. It's horrible here, but everybody knows that, especially Jazz. I guess she doesn't need anyone reminding her of it. I'm fine. She stares at me for a good 4 seconds before speaking. I can tell you're not. I know you have your psychotherapist to help you deal with your hallucinations and sleep paralysis. But you should feel free to talk to her about other problems in your life, especially if you're unwilling to speak to your friends about them. I found that building up lots of negative emotions like this tends to attract more bad things. You know what I mean. I stiffen with a start as I hear knocking on the window. Glancing over, I see 2 large pairs of horns silhouetted against the lower edge of the window pane. Jazz looks to have been clutching her legs tightly, though at seeing what I do, she relaxes as well. Carl wanted to wait outside. I understand. Yeah. I look at the carpet between my feet, then slowly rise to a stand. Leo's apparently at some party on Route 65. He didn't tell me about it. Yeah, apparently he kept it a secret from us. We're going to go check it out. Would you like to come? I see her kneed and knuckles against the comforter, her tongue pressed against her two front teeth. I wouldn't be able to get away for long, Chase. For now, it's better if I stay put. She reaches down, tapping a few more things into my phone before handing it back to me. I see the flash of messenger history deleted upon my screen for a split second, where it goes back to the usual background. Looking down at her, I raise my eyebrows slightly. Thanks. I hope you get your door back. I will, one way or another. She nods politely and I make my exit. As I'm walking through the hall, I spy Jasmine's father still hunched over his nachos. Jeremy, meanwhile, is still on the couch, which I'm realising is also his bed. He scowls at me as he catches me looking, the fox making a cruel gesture before rolling over towards the television. I think he mutters another fuck off. I'm not really listening. I'm honestly surprised Carl accepted going along to this party. His social anxiety is pretty bad at school. Maybe it's just that kind of night. I walk alongside him, still milling over what Jasmine had said. I can't wait till I get my licence and car. I mentioned that already, yeah? Yes. Route 65 is like 3 miles away. We can get your fetlocks toned and ready for the dance floor, though. I see Carl's posture stiffen some at that prospect. His bright green eyes looking toward the asphalt beneath us. You don't actually think there's going to be dancing, is there? Like the movies and shit? I shrug. Something I've been doing a lot this night. Growing up in a town with less than 60 people has made what seems like a conventional teenage experience on TV seem utterly foreign. The closest our group of friends had to such were birthday parties with just us 6 and our folks. Leo's dad let us drink a can of beer once. I always imagined high school parties were just a bunch of kids sitting on couches and smoking weed. But there's his echo, so... Meth? Do you think Leo would go to a party where everyone smoked meth? Well, I didn't think Leo would go to a party and not tell us. I pause, dipping my paws into my pockets. I wonder if Leo thinks we're not cool. Carl actually turns to look at me, then quickly averts his gaze to the ground. Dude, I think that after all the shit we've been through, that wouldn't matter. The serious statement from him takes me off guard. I feel instantly guilty for broaching that topic. I nod solemnly, another long pause drifting between us. Yeah. Carl slows to a stop, resting his paws upon his knees, his large backed form hunched over. He groans once, his breathing is a bit ragged. I stop as well, moving on over to the ramp's side. You alright, dude? Yeah, we've been walking forever. Could use like a bench or something. I'm sure there will be chairs at the party. Yeah, sticky sex ones probably. I smirk. I'm sure you'll get used to the scene in no time. We're going to show up there and be just Leo alone in a gimp mask with a warehouse full of rubber ducks. Sounds like a dream I had once. He lets out a sort of raspy laugh, pushing himself back upright again. I give his side a little rough nudge and we begin walking once more. The road here is much better maintained than most of Echo's on account of it being a state route. Still, it doesn't get much usage. I think Flynn told me once it's part of the early US highway system was repurposed in the 90s. The interstate freeway about 30 miles to our east gets most of the traffic this road used to. If you want to get to any major city, you take the interstate. There'd be little reason beyond sightseeing to take the slow highway. I never really understood the appeal of people that do stuff like that. Set the GPS to avoid freeways for the scenic stuff. Everything on these long highway stretches has been mostly shuttered without a gas station for 100 miles. It's just decay, entropy. I don't get why anyone would want to be reminded of it for fun. I mean, I live in the middle of it, so maybe that's why it doesn't seem so exotic, enticing, or southwestern gothic. Failing local economies and being trapped in the midst of them just has a way of sucking the fun out of things. Walking along now, the remnants of the bygone highway era still dot the landscape. To our right there's an abandoned trailer park. Most of it is empty besides the crumbling admin building, 1 or 2 remaining trailers. They're all graffitied to high hell though. It's funny how spray painted initials crop up on deserted structures seemingly at the same rate rust and dust takes over. Sydney and Flynn convinced me to tag an outhouse once when I was 10. The end result didn't look anywhere near as good as the bold yet indecipherable text that dons the outer wall of the chipped 70s era RV beside me. I ended up feeling so guilty I told my mom. We went back out to the outhouse after dark with soap and scrubbing stuff, managed to get it all off. The next day, Sydney and Flynn were confused as to where my tag went. I told them I didn't know what they were talking about, and Mom thought that was funny. At the thought of Mom, I roused my brooding, glancing sidelong to Carl. There's a dull, vacant look on his face, his mind clearly elsewhere. I feel a cold sweat take me and a weird lurching in my heart. Christ, can I actually do this? To come out to him in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere? I'm going to be stuck in this town for at least 3 more years, then I'm free, hopefully. If this goes badly, more badly than it already has, I just have to stick it out until college. Hey, Carl. The words leave my throat with a force-sounding utterance, surprising myself. The ram slowly blinks back into reality, then responds. Yeah? So something kinda messed up happened this morning. I see the flicker of his eyes shift towards my direction. This, after what Karen was going off about? I wasn't going to ask or nothing. So he had noticed after all. Sort of, yeah. I see Carl shift awkwardly. He's never the person I go to with the serious stuff. I can tell he's wondering why I'm breaking our mutual unspoken, let's keep it light pact. That being said, I definitely have his full attention. Oh, okay. What's up? I see the outline of the Parsons building now, but we're still a pretty damn long ways away. So I like guys. I can't really read his expression change in the dark, but it definitely did. Really? Yeah, have since I went through puberty. Are you, sure? You're pretty down to earth. I mean, sort of an asshole at times, but yeah, plain. I rubbed my temple, letting out a little grunt. You're making me feel better already. Hopefully not too good. I doubt you're into boobs anyway. He grabs his pectorals, gives them a squeeze. Oh, well, you got a purty mouth. I cringe instantly at myself. Why the fuck would you say that? Fortunately, see the glint of Carl's teeth and know that he's grinning. So, Flynn's advice was actually relevant after all. Does he, know? No, you're the first person I've told. Whoa, dude. That's pretty heavy. I try to think up something to say, trying to be nonchalant as possible. I guess I'm trying to show Carl I'm not really any different. Well, you're pretty heavy, so I thought you could handle it. He looks down at his gut, then back up again. Carl isn't really grotesquely overweight. His whole body is pretty proportionally large. Well, maybe not in height yet, but there's still a few years. Who knows, maybe he'll turn out huge like Leo. What's your mom and pop think about it? They didn't know until this morning. They caught me watching gay porn. Fuck, dude. I hear him exhale through his large nostrils. I make my parents knock. There's a mutual agreement. It isn't good for either of us, so they walk in on the jerk-off session. Though they're usually never home anyway. Yeah, that's nice. I see the ram's form rise and slump again. I shrug. I don't think my parents took it well, so this whole outing is keeping my mind off things. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Really, yeah? I kinda cringe secondhand thinking about it, actually. A single car passes us by, the first one we've seen all night. We stop talking as it passes. I can feel the eyes of the driver upon us. We're definitely in Lord's sight, an otter on the ram in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night. So yeah, does this mean I get to say the F word whenever I want, on account of my best friend being gay and stuff? I mean, as long as you don't turn into Flynn with it, then yeah, sure. That's like the best news I've heard all day. I can finally talk smack back properly to the 12-year-olds online. I snicker a little and the silence falls between us. I'm not sure exactly what to say after all that. Carl seems a little less jokey too. His horns tilted down, so I know he's staring at the road as he walks. It is getting noticeably chillier outside. The desert soil doesn't do a great job of retaining heat already, but it's much worse than late fall and winter months. I cross my arms tight across my chest, envying those with thicker fur, and pants instead of shorts. Peering ahead, I can see that our destination is still like a mile away. To my surprise, Carl breaks the silence, clearing his throat first. You know, I watch him from his side, not about to interrupt, even if he can't make the right words for him right away. Sometimes when I'm, feeling bad, I sort of have, this pretend. I see him look over at me, then he smiles, shaking his head rapidly. Nah. What? Go on. I can't say this. It's lame as shit. I just told you I'm gay and got caught watching gay porn. What's lamer than that? That's not even lame. That's just shit luck and way too good headphones. They were the in-ear bud kind. Dangerous choice there, dude. Come on. Nah. He grunts indignantly. Sometimes... He takes in a deep breath, clutching his paws to get inside the front pocket of his hoodie. Fuck it. I have an imaginary GF in my head and she chills me out. Wow. Don't wow me. I have a good imagination or something, it works out. Is she hot? Yeah, completely. Short, spiked blonde head fur, dark grey eyes, real athletic body, double D breasts, 2 foot long dick. She's amazing. What was that last one? She's amazing. You have one? I glance over and see Carl looking at me expectantly. Are we just putting all our embarrassing shames out in the open here tonight? I did. I think for now let's just do what normal grown-ups do and suppress the rest. I see Carl sort of smile awkwardly, then rather quickly look away. If you say so. I'm honestly astonished how quickly the tables turned in this confiding. Even in the dark I can tell he's trying to act all nonchalant and uncaring, but he's visibly tense as hell. That imaginary girlfriend thing must mean a lot to him. He's playing it off with humour, but I've known him long enough to see through that. Hey. I see him flinch, looking over his shoulder towards me. What's up? You're not weird. He doesn't respond beyond faking an amused grunt. I take a deep breath, preparing the further delving into the deep real talk that this conversation was about to become.